council meeting come to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Ramos Herbert.
Here.
Councilmember Lopez. Here. Councilmember Tarantino.
Here.
Councilmember Peters.
Here.
Councilmember Ashaloya.
Here.
Councilmember Kay. Here. Councilmember Stern.
Here.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular legislative meeting for Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. I'd like to start with an approval of the minutes submitted for the Tuesday, March 19th, 2024 meeting, the special meeting Friday, April 5th, 2024, special meeting Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, and the committee of the whole session on Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. May I have a unanimous motion and second for approval of the minutes?
Motion.
Peters and Oceanloye, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Then I'd like to note the submission of minutes for our RLM scheduled Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, and the committee of the whole session for Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. This moves us to our consent agenda, items numbered 1 through 11, having previously been moved and seconded. All in favor of our consent agenda? Oh no, may I have a motion and a second to approve our, wait. I'm going to slow my brain down for a second, so I'm going to ask for everybody's grace. Having previously been moved and seconded, all in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is adopted, and I thank everyone for their continued grace. Moving on to our resolutions. Item number 12. Which is the proposed allocation criteria regarding remaining downtown overlay zone units. I see Commissioner Salgado coming in.
There's been a request by Councilmember Tarantino to hold the item, so you can have more time to review it until June.
I have the sense from the council that we are ready to proceed with this item. Should we just move to a motion as to whether we should hold it or not?
Well, I'll give you the reason why. I received my package this morning after I went to work. I usually get it before the weekend. I didn't. There's a lot into it. There's a lot in there. And I'll ask the council this. Do you know the criteria that we used in the past? What methods we used to determine which projects moved forward and which projects didn't? Do you, Matt? Do you, Shane? Do you, Peter? Do you know any of that information? Martha, do you know? Dira? Nobody knows. So you're going ahead and going to approve or vote on something that you don't even know the process that was used in the past. And this is why I wanted time to be able to review it and explain it, because I have the records from the past that I can go through. And I want to be able to lay out what I think we should be looking at. Not saying you have to agree with me, but I should have the opportunity to at least express my opinions instead. And I got to tell you, in 16 years, this will be the first time that a council has even brought to vote on an item that was asked to be held by a council member. So this is a new one for me. So if that's the direction you want to go, Madam Mayor, it's up to you. And it'll set a precedent, and we'll see where it goes in the future.
Is there something about the actual criteria that you want to discuss?
Yeah, there's different things that were done in the past that I want to go over and see the differences between what we're doing now with the criteria. Remember, this criteria we got a week ago. Okay? There's a lot in there. Did you look at that map? I looked at it today on the way while I was sitting in the parking lot. It's a very small map. It's very hard to distinguish. It takes time to understand where those buildings are and how this criteria is going to work, and who it's going to benefit and who it's not going to benefit. And it seems kind of strange that there's this sudden rush to push this criteria forward right now. There's a queue of maybe 8 or 9 people or developers in this queue. And now we're going to push, the rest of them into it without really understanding how it was done in the past. And also, by changing the criteria like this, I'd like an understanding from Corporation Council. This is one of the questions I would have after I had more time to review it, and I would do this before the meeting so that we have the answers instead of waiting, is that do we open ourselves up to any legal action from a developer that feels that they're being bypassed for somebody else? So these are the things that I'm concerned about, I want to look at, but if that's the case, that, you've already taken your vote privately, I guess, because you commented that we're ready to move forward on it. So you obviously reached out to everybody before the meeting. You didn't reach out to me. So my question is, if you want to do it, it's on you.
I saw Councilmember Peters had his hand up. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, I do. I'm appreciative. First of all, I do need to say this, right? That as we come on to council as of this year, we have come to have a sense of relying on a number of things. We've come to rely on former council members or current council members who were here before. We have demonstrated both the willingness and the eagerness to hear that information. So we've relied on that, or we've learned from that. We've learned from the current. After January 1, we've learned by having meetings with the Department of Development. We've learned by having meetings with the city manager. We've learned by having meetings with the interim city manager. We've learned by listening to public comments over the course of the last 5 months. Prior to that, we've learned, some of us have learned from participating and watching and hearing what occurred over a number of years. So we can be and have been informed by the past, depending upon whatever direction one chooses to consider. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to be defined by it. So the reason why I'm talking about being defined by it has to do with whether or not, at least, and I'll speak for myself, whether or not I've come to some understanding from having meetings with the development department and our meetings last week where we explored pretty much, this particular resolution, if you will, or at least the sense of the criteria, as Matt just mentioned. And for me, that criteria, as it stands now, feels legitimate. It feels as if it has a sense of purpose, and it aligns itself with values that kind of speak to the constituency that I happen to represent, as well as others in discussions that I've had around the city. So as far as that concerned, personally for me, I feel prepared enough to be able to move forward with what's being presented here tonight. I feel that way. That's how I feel. So
An alternative is the commissioner could make the presentation, and then we could synthesize it.
I want to respond to that, because it wasn't about you, it was about me. It was about me. Yeah, but the whole conversation you just had was about you.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was. It was about you, and it's about you're an
you
expert.
mentioned.
You make you throw out more fruit salads than anybody I know.
Well, that's okay.
I'm going to ask the both of you to remember.
No,
I'm going to ask.
let me
I
just
hear you,
stop for a
but we
minute.
have to.
Every time I
I will adjourn the meeting. I will ask for a suspension of the meeting.
Every time you
Can I have a
come
motion
here,
in a second to have
listen to you, and it's
a
okay.
suspension of the meeting, please?
It's not.
Can I have a motion in a second to suspend the meeting?
All right.
And we'll bring it back.
It's not an argument. It's not.
Hold the item, please.